I think we're live. I think we are there. Can you hear me? Everything up okay? Looks good. You hear no audio? You hear it? It was you, Ron? Okay. It happened. Says it's okay, all right. Go ahead. Well, damn time I gave you I didn't do that. I didn't run an ad. Did they run the ad? Did they? Is that what happened? Because it's December 2nd and there was a cutoff date and they're just doing it now. You know, tough shit. Starting like December 1. You know? Because they asked me, they had a thing, they said, are you sure you don't want us to run ads? And I was like, no, yeah, I'm sure. It was like enable or dismiss, and I said dismiss. Audio's great, okay. Sounds good. What's up, Eddie Mozzie, Tim, Tony, Deanna, Bill, Eddie, Ben, Coombs, Isaac, Stewart, Retro, Ben, Bill, Michael, Terry, Heart Attack, Ron, Michael, Retro, Super Lead, Larry, Pimps, Star Guitar, Rockin' Robin, Michael. Oh yeah, for the music mill, huh? What's up, Frank? Tony, BC, Rich, James, Richard, Matt, Terry, Double R, RJ, Vimps, Chris. I'm saying some names multiple times. Just reading the list. Sean, Tony, Yeti Matzi. What's up, Papa Blue? Electro Omega. Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever his head was his home. And when he died, I can't get that. All he left us was alone. That was Cutie. Buddy's over on the desk. I just shut the window. It's getting freaking cold out. You know. What's up, Knees? Retro. Dave. Hey, you think the volume's a little low? You know, I was looking at that, but I don't. It's funny you mention that. I'm just gonna try this. Is this better? Check, check. Or am I oversaturated? In fact, I can probably go. Check, check. Is that a little better? Or is it now? Is it over? Is it overdone? Is it oversaturated? Am I blowing it out? So can I leave it here, or am I getting check 9? Warning. Yeah, that's it. Blow it out. Leave it there. Leave it right here? Okay. All right. Seems good? All right. How about the soft stuff? Yeah, that's how the whole 2 hours should be. I know I could do that for 2 hours. You know who's not in the chat tonight? Anybody notice who's missing? Exactly, Speaker. Does anybody know where Speaker is right now? Speaker! You know where that name came from, right? That friggin' bass player. He had a bass player that was like, let's just say, not the sharpest tool in the shed. Michael has it. Yeah, Ben has it right. He's at Kiss. He's down in New York City, going to I think it's the final Kiss show, right? Tonight? Last night was the second to last. Tonight's the last. So, you took the train, I think. You can take the train. Get right down there. Exactly. Is that for my notes? Is that for my speaker? Is that for my speaker? We had been in a band together for a while, but we had not been in a band. And he comes in and he goes, "Oh, I did my friend. He was doing a little project together, and he's playing bass. He wanted to check out some bass amps." I'm like, "Sure, man." So we get him a bass and we plug him in, and I got him going through an amp, and he's like, I'm like, okay. Right, doing this thing, kind of lost in his own playing, and I'm sort of pointing out the things, trying to be a salesman, right, working at the music store, and I point out it had a graphic EQ. I go, as you can see, it's got a graphic EQ, and he just blurts out, "Is that for my speaker?" And I was like, "Sure," and I look at Speaker, and we are laughing. We got like tears coming down. Like, what? Oh my God. That dude, man. I know. I doubt it's the final Kiss show. I agree. This is one of 1,000 final Kiss shows. Though Paul seems to think that he's just too old for it now. Like, what are you doing? You got money. Have a retirement period. But who knows? I have a feeling that he could get bored. And you know, the next thing you know, it's the We Never Really Meant to Go tour. Or it's the end of the road, final of the final legs. Ending in Detroit. I think, yeah. They say that they could just license the whole thing and the Kiss will continue, as an act. Just with, they'll find the Kiss entity will continue, but I don't know if that's true. They'll find a Gene. They'll find a Paul. Right? They'll find a demon and a Starman, Starchild. What did we learn from Phantom? Is it Starchild? Oh, is that what he was calling the chick? Exactly, it'd be like the Blue Man Group. Yeah, have you heard 10,000 volts? They're like, he's on the radio. And they go like, we're here with Ace Frehley. Ace, what's the new song called? It's called 10,000 volts. That dude just sounds permanently drunk at this point. But I actually liked it too. I haven't listened to it like probably 4 or 5 times yesterday. It's like like wait, what? Right, just. I mean, it's got all the Kissisms in it. Yeah, right out of the Bronx. Yeah, you can hear. Yeah, right, you can hear the Bronx. Yeah. God. Ace, gotta love him. God love him. Yeah, I actually kind of like I didn't mind. It grew on me. Like, yo, 10,000 volts. Bring it, Ace. Yeah. Gotta do all your Ace, So he wouldn't hit the. That's the 80s coming out. Andrew says he also got an ad. Damn. Well, it's supposed to give an ad at the start. Technically, I do have a start ad. So if you come into the feed, you might see an ad. But once I'm going and once you're here and you don't leave and come back, if you leave and come back, they might run another ad. Because as far as they're concerned, you're starting again. But whilst you're here and this is going on, an ad shouldn't just pop up. Shouldn't just come out of nowhere. He kind of does sound like Christopher Walken a little bit. He does. I played the solo on all the early Kiss stuff. God, that dude. I'll give you the P&L report. The Drunken Donuts commercial. That was the best. They brought in Ace. I'll give you the P&L reports right now. Big Night had a lot of ads on his stream last night. Well, he said creators can't control anymore. Okay. Well, that's what he said. I'm telling you right now, I turned it off, right? In other words, they asked me. And they're adamant. I'm not going to, they're adamant. They are like, are you sure? Are you sure you just don't want to forget about this? And you just want to just let us manage it. Stop worrying about when to place an ad. We will find the perfect place to run an ad, and we will run the ad for you. And I'm like, no. Beginning and end. You can run an ad at the beginning, and you can run an ad at the end when the show's over, because people can just click out of that stupid ad, right, and get rid of it. But I don't want ads in the middle. No in-the-middle ads unless I manually run them, which I don't. So that's what we're here to check, because if they start running them midstream, then you know they did make a change. Yeah, I know Joe Wall sounds permanently drunk too. Yeah, no, you drink enough, you're gonna take on the permanent drunk voice. Otherwise known as the Australian accent. He hit it in his ass, so he got a dysentery. But that's beside the point. I know. Could have been worse. Could have been a fountain pen. I'm not going to be telling Phil to talk to you. Steve figured it out. Steve has it turned on manual. Steve says you can just go into where it says mid-roll ads and change it from automatic to manual. He said you didn't do that. He said you left it on automatic. And then you just feigned like, oh, it's not up to me. A MIDI PC could just live stream on one? Absolutely. I take that back. As long as it will work with Intel. I think if you got a Mini that worked with that was an AMD all the way, you might not be able to take advantage of the hardware. You'd do it, but you'd have to use the software acceleration. If you want to use the hardware acceleration, most platforms use NVIDIA, and none of these minis have NVIDIA. Or they have Intel. And the Intel does have full-on hardware codecs for a bunch of file types. And so it'll just take over. You set it right up to the hardware. So for streaming, it would totally work, trailer update. Trailer is still awesome. I used the trailer this week. I have an updated photo of the trailer. It looks the same. It's just it's a new photo. Photo taken this week. Yeah. Yeah. There it is. That thing is so friggin' awesome. I did use it last Saturday, as you know. We went out and did the main dump. But I went around and did another full round of leaves. I mean, this is kind of it. Most of the leaves, as you can see in the background there, most of the leaves are off the tree. So those are the leaves you see on the side. That's a vine. We have this vine taken over. Something's going on. We have the vine creeping in. Some sort of ivy. See, it's coming up the side of his place over here. But, you know, that's not my problem. There's no vines growing on my stuff. Damn it. Anything over? Oh yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave that. So, yeah, no, the trailer's been friggin' awesome. I also used the trailer to bring up some, like an old, the old yard vac, the one that blew up. I brought that up in the back of the trailer. And I had an old fire pit, you know, that quite frankly is a lot better. The new fire pit's kind of flimsy. That old fire pit I broke my friggin' back pulling that off the back of the trailer. Reminded me, you know, this thing's kind of heavy duty. It lasted a long time. Thing weighs a friggin' ton, cast iron. Thing's awesome. You know, painted up with the KISS logo. A lot of people are thinking the stripe it, right? Make it into a stripey McStripe stripe. I get a shot, yeah, right there. Do the, the Van Halen. I just think that invites theft. I'm probably just going to do a flat black for the middle here. I have a wood filler I can fill in that little crack on the side there. That's only in the outer sheath, you know. None of these were perfect. I put the best parts facing out. The inside is actually worse than this. So, and then I'll do the inside. I'll pressure wash everything in the spring, and then I'll probably stain. I'll do like a black stain, and then I'll do a clear stain on the inside. And then it will be mostly done. The only thing I really have left to do is probably could use a new set of tires, and I wouldn't mind taking the wheel bearings off and repacking them. Repacking the wheel bearings and a new set of tires. The problem is the tires were like $55, you know, in April, and I was like, maybe they'll go down to 48, and they went up to like 72, and they've been 72 to 74 ever since. I'm hoping over the winter they're going to go back down to the 55 they were in April. So I'll play the long game. Oh, I'm waiting for my friggin' $55 tires. Yeah, you know, I could put a storage box on top. I thought about that. Put a storage box on the front. My dad used to put PVC pipe, and he'd strap it on the inside so you could put tools. You could put like a rake or whatever. You could go around town. It wasn't going anywhere because it was in this big giant. Right, it's not going to pull out. It's too long. I could put a box, but you know what? When I was putting some of the leaves in the other day, I stood up on the front and emptied it out into the into the inside, and so I don't know if I want a box there. That's where you're supposed to put the spare. The spare is supposed to go on here, and it latches into like right here. Right, that's where you're supposed to mount the spare tire, right up here on the front. But, you know, I'm taking my chances. I'm only going to the dump, and I could literally walk to the dump in 15 minutes. I can drive there in like 2. Ultra heavy relic would look great on that. You know, I'm just gonna throw this look out to you. I'll show you. This is just a concept, you know, for that style. Let me just, what would you say to like that, right? Something like this. Oop, hold on. Yeah, like that. You know, like the ultra rustic. See? It tells the world, I just don't care about anything. Here's a front shot. You know, I thought these holes looked quite sporting. Yeah, exactly. Sanford and Son. Hard to believe it's the same trailer, but it is. 10,000 hours later. What did you do to it? What didn't I do to it? Exactly, those are turbo holes. Ain't you never heard of speed holes? Come on. We need a refresher course. Relic, finish it with nitro. Exactly. Designed by Murphy Labs, exactly. Oh, that is good coffee. That is good coffee. The reality is I'll probably never get that because I'm a lefty. Never forget that some of those things that are right hand, right? I'm left-handed. I do everything lefty except guitar. So I'm at a bit of a disadvantage with you dexterous right-hand people. Yeah, same Ben. Yeah, Daryl. Yeah. So what you find is your left-handed player who plays righty tends to play more legato because they lean on their left hand a little bit more, right? Right? I'm like not picking. It sounds faster because I'm doing all those pull-offs. You know what the nature's cruelest joke is? The right-handed player who plays lefty. Oh, damn. But why? Because it feels right that way. Boss IR2, I haven't checked it out. Let's look at it. Would you say it's Boss IR2? Is that a impulse response loader? Some sort of information ray? IR2. Is that the... oh, yeah, that's the little amping cabinet. You know, I saw Anderton's video. I thought it sounded good. Some of them did. I mean, come on, some of them sounded a little shitty, but most of them sounded pretty good, and it took pedals like a champ. We're talking about this, of course, the Boss amp and cabinet, the IR2. So you've got clean. It goes in order of saturation. Clean, twin, tweed, diamond, crunch, Brit, high gain. What is that? SLDN, that's Soldano. Brown, obviously Van Halen modified brown sound, or a Brown Eye Friedman. And then modded, and then R fire, which is going to be rectifier, right? And you got your gain, your level, and your ambience. Doesn't have a reverb, but it does have ambience and bass, middle, and treble. And it's got an effects loop built in. See? Ascend and return. Right there. Send, return. No, it's no, it seems pretty cool. But unless you try to figure out how to play like Eric Gales, yeah, good luck. There are a few dudes out there that play upside down, though. You know, mainly in the blues scene. You know. Wait a second. Is that for your speaker? As a matter of fact, it is. It is for your speaker. Every single time you go to a store and a salesman points out anything, I beg you, we have to start a trend, hashtag, is that for my speaker? Interesting. Now, is that for my speaker? We got it. We got this, dude. It's going to be a TikTok sensation. Is that for my speaker? I remember just looking at speaker. And we were just, I remember his face turning so red. And, you know, you get that permanent. You can't. Oh, man. Exactly. We're going to make use that for my speaker. That's the next trend. That's the next hot TikTok trend for everything. And that comes with a demi-glaze. Is that for my speaker? And we're pairing that with a... I gotta make use that for my speaker shirts. It's funny because it's true. Can't make that up. Oh yeah, no, she gave up. I closed the window. It's getting freaking cold. So she's done. She's down. Yeah, you got a spark go. Nice. Oh, wait. No, yeah, exactly. You have to drop this ad for my speaker in every scenario. Anytime something comes out, you can just throw that right in there. You know? Actually, got some sad news this week. I haven't seen this guy in a very, very long time. Actually, we did see each other briefly a couple of times in maybe 10 years ago or so. But it's a dude I hung out with when I was a teenager. For between the ages of 12 and 16, 17. He was in the fort crew, and we had the fort and all that. And he passed away. I couldn't believe it. He had a couple of heart attacks about 10 years ago. He had one, and he seemed to be better. And then he had a worse one, which he was lucky to survive. And he seemed to be doing better. And he moved out of Massachusetts. He moved up to New Hampshire, way up. And he was a kind of a deer hunter, way into deer hunting. And he wanted to set up. And he's like, geez, I want to set up. He goes, but I'm feeling so he goes, I think I'm sick. I'm really sick. And he's like, I might not go up in a tree. Maybe he's making a blind, a camo blind down on the ground. He had a chair, and he had like a camouflage around it. He found 3 trees and sort of camoed it around around it. And he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about setting this up, but, and then his next post on Facebook, this is all in November, all in the last 30 days. His next post was yeah, I'm feeling cold. I can't warm up. And people were going, because he had the heart attack, go to the hospital. Go to the friggin' hospital. Again, this is a friend of mine from when I was a teenager, and we just happen to still reconnect on Facebook. And but we haven't hung out in 40 years. But he finally went to the doctor, and he had it was actually pretty serious. It was a blood infection, otherwise known as sepsis, which is deadly. Even if you get it taken care of, the mortality rate for sepsis is 50%. It's just one of those, that's tricky. So he got some sort of blood infection, and they were treating him. He's in the hospital for a few days, giving him IVs and, that, but it got him. He didn't make it. He didn't make it out of the hospital. It was tough to hear. So he was 58, And he's the first one. I was trying to think. I think he might be the first one not to die of, drugs or alcohol. Mainly alcohol. I don't know. The only guy I knew died of drugs, quote unquote, really died of AIDS because he was sharing needles and he got AIDS. That'd kill you back then. Yeah, you're not escaping AIDS. Not in the early 90s. And but everyone else was alcohol. Either they got drunk and they drove into something, got in a really bad car accident, or they drank themselves to death. He's the first one, I think, in our group that just passed away of, just ill health, someone who, Anyway, it was a lot of emails going on. Hey, did you hear? Jim passed away, and it was like, oh no, really? So, I would actually go to his services if they weren't 3.5 hours away. But, I don't know if I can drive 7 hours. Yeah, 58's pretty young. My dad knows him. My dad, he used to work for my dad. And, like most kids in the neighborhood did, at one point, he worked for my dad at my dad's garage. And my dad sold him a Super B, Roadrunner. And he felt like there was something wrong with it. He had it for a couple of weeks. I remember we went to the we took it to the bike festival at Westwood train station. They used to do the Halloween run. They did the Halloween run, right? So all the bikers would show up at the train station, and it was a lot of people watching, and they come around, they take up a collection, and it was for charity, and they do this big Halloween run from there on the bikes. I remember we took the Roadrunner there, so that was in October, and I say he brought it back. He said, "Oh, I think there's something wrong with the engine." And my dad was like, "Whatever, I'll give you money." My dad didn't care. Whatever, giving you money back. And my dad doubled his money when he sold it. He was like, I remember because that came up recently, and he goes, "Yeah, remember I sold Jim the Roadrunner?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "He returned that." I go, "Yeah, I remember." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I think I doubled my money when we sold it again." Yeah, that's it was a Super B. My dad had he had a 1963 Lincoln Continental, with the suicide doors. It was pretty much the same. It was the Kennedy car. It was a convertible with the red interior. He had one of those. It was nice. He had a bunch of, I wish I had photographs. I probably have some somewhere. He had a bunch of Thunderbirds at one point. I don't know where the hell he was getting those. But yeah. I remember he sold Jim sold him a Super B. And then he, no, something wrong with it. My dad was like, "Whatever, I'll take it back. No problem." Yeah. What do you think a Super B is worth now? So that was probably 1982. That's 41 years ago, right? Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, that was it. That was the Halloween run. It was Halloween run 82. And keep in mind, I think my dad sold him the car for, I don't know, $800, $1,000. Did it have the Roadrunner decals? Yeah, it had the Coyote. It had the Roadrunner decal on the back, like on the tail, right? But it didn't have a big fin on the back. I don't remember that. I wonder if someone took that off. What it did, and it had, he had the grip. He had this wide grip shift on it. That was probably changed. You know what I'm saying? It's like silver. It was like this wide, it was a standard. You know? Yeah, I mean, let's assume it was beat up, which it probably was. Yeah, Hurst. That's what it was. It was a Hurst shifter. That's exactly what it was. The Hurst. Got a better memory than me. That's exactly what it was, Hurst. He had a Hurst shifter on it. So, clearly not 100% original. That Hurst is going to cost you. Cut it in half. Yeah, he probably bought it at Belmont Hot Rod. No, that car would haul. That car hauled ass. That was definitely a fast car. It sounded loud. You know. You know. When you were driving that car, you were driving it. Hurst wouldn't hurt it, but the real money would be the pistol grip, yeah. Yeah, that's probably what it was, about 7 miles to the gallon. 7 gallons to the mile. The worst ever was my, was that AMC, the Ambassador station wagon. That thing would piss through gas, and I used to tell them, it goes through gas so fast. You're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. We sold it to this dude we sold it to one of the mechanics. And he was, I think he was originally from, Carolinas or something. So he had a real southern accent. And he'd go, I'll drive it from here down to my house in Roslindale and back. And that's like a quarter goddamn tank. I'm like, I'm telling you. He wound up pulling the carb off of it and putting like a 1 barrel on it. Yeah. No, I didn't have the Gremlin. Although I did have a Gremlin once. And I also had a LeCar. I had a LeCar. Remember those? Remember the LeCar? Like the whole roof was like rubber and opened up. Yeah, 3 lug nut wheels. Yeah. You get 4 guys like my size in that friggin' thing. It's tough to get that thing rolling. Yeah, by Renault. Oh, those cars were garbage. Yeah, I drove that LeCar for 1 summer. It was one of those things where my other car, what was the other car I had? I had probably had like a Pontiac Le Mans, and that finally just literally died on the side of the road. Like literally had to take it, just junked it right there from the side of the road. In fact, the cops called me and said, hey, you got to get that car out of there because the people, that's a nice neighborhood and they don't want to look at your car. I'm like, I know. All right, I'll get it out. And I wound up. They were nice enough to call me. They go, oh, we're going to have to tow it and it's going to be expensive. So we're giving you an opportunity to go up there and get it the hell out of there. And I'm like, they looked up my plate and called me. I was like, okay. So I got out of there. That was the Le Mans. Was that the last one? Was it the Le Mans? I feel like I had 2 Le Manses. an older and then a newer. They were both garbage. And then I think when the second one went, I got the LaCar. And then after that, it was the Celica, my Toyota. My Toyota. It's not a Porsche, it's a Porsche. It's not a Toyota, it's a Toyota. Yeah, and we had we went up to New Hampshire for a weekend, and we took a Gremlin. No, Pacer. Wasn't a Gremlin, it was a Pacer. The Bubble. We took the fishbowl. Oh my God, yeah. What else did I have? I had a Buick. God, it was loaded. Buick Regal? And it had it was diesel, which was a pain in the ass. Yeah, some of the old Celicas look pretty cool. The Celica, God, it blew a water pump, a pain in the ass. Then an alternator. I had bad brakes. God, that Celica was nothing but problems. I had a couple of Pontiacs. Of course, I had the Mercury Grand Marquis, the cop car. 1979 Mercury Grand Marquis. Black and white, and it had the spotlight on the driver's posts, right? Built into the post, it had the spotlight. I remember a cop reaching in my car to turn it on. He goes, "You lucky that's not plugged in." And I had unplugged it. And I go, "Why?" He goes, "It's illegal." I go, "No, it's not. It was literally a test on my exam." I go, that was a test on my exam. It's operation. You can operate it up to like 10 feet off the ground for a distance of like 30 feet. So like 3 feet off the ground. I said, and even higher in cases of emergency. And he was like, yeah, the reaching into the car was illegal. God, that guy was such a dick. No, I remember one time we were in that place we weren't supposed to be in. In the middle of this place, it was like this old, like, reserve grounds. It's quasi-private, but in the middle of it was a metropolitan police station. Now, if you're not familiar with Boston, Boston had two different police departments for some reason. They had the Boston Police Department, and they had the Metropolitan Police Department. And the Mets basically covered like a lot of the parks, so obviously that's why they must have been in there. And they were known to be just colossal dicks. And although I admittedly one totally helped me out one night in a snowstorm. But the Mets, they fancied themselves, most of them became state police. They fancied themselves more like state police than Boston police. And we drove through, we went past the station, we were going in there, and I had the floodlight on. And the freaking groundskeeper comes driving in the other way, and he sees me, and he waves, because he thinks I'm a cop with my light on. Right? It's a spotlight. And I wave back, and I see him slam on his brakes. In my rearview mirror, I see him slam on the brakes and spin around, and I take off. Remember, I am driving a cop car. So, get around, get up to the end, and there's a chain across the gate. I'm like, holy shit. And I jump up, run out, and I grab it, and the chain is just hung there. And I pull it off, and it drops to the ground. I hop back in the car and peel it the hell out of there. And we were gone. Gone. Yeah. God, that car. I used to say, why do people drive so slow in front of me? The thing that sucked about it was they had so much police equipment on the dashboard that was all ripped out. The dashboard had a bunch of holes, like custom-made holes that they just drill right through to put all this equipment in, and all that equipment's gone. So, the car kind of, it looked like an old cop car, like a bunch of crap was pulled out of it, And then the air conditioning went. That never got fixed. It never had working tail lights. Thank God I was a friggin' car inspector. I just gave myself a sticker. That was easy enough. No, I've actually had this Vola a while. News on the Volas. I don't know when this will happen, but I'm not playing the TNC because I'm actually going to send the gray one back, and they're going to send me a blue one because I cried like a bitch. And I was like, damn it, I want a blue one or a red one. Wah, wah, wah. And he was like, we actually got one in that's also got another blem. He goes, so I'll send you that. He goes, send me the gray one back. I said, I will. So. Your father's chief of police, you worked in law enforcement? Sure. All you realize is either PD or fire. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the minis. The minis. I got there. First of all, you got to admit, this is adorable. Look at this thing. Look at that thing. It is adorbs. This is the box it came in. Little mini PC. Let me go to PC cam. All right. You got a bunch of I/O on the back. You got power over here, HDMIs, and then Ethernet, and a couple of USB 3s. And then on the front, a couple more USB 3s. And it's running the latest Intel 12th gen chip. And it runs 16 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig SSD drive. And $159. Now that's a price I can live with. Kind of like a Raspberry Pi. Right. The chips are, this particular one is the latest Alder Lake 12th gen. There's a link in the description. An affiliate link, of course. But they took the Gracemont chips out of the 12th gen, like i7, right? That would have 4 efficiency cores. So if you know anything about Intel, starting in the 12th gen, which is what this is, 12th gen, they came out with 2 different cores in the same chip. Kind of like what Atom's been doing for a while, right? Apple does it. There's a lot of places a lot of chip makers that do a combination of high performance and high efficiency cores. So they came out with a new set of cores, new high performance cores, new high efficiency cores, and all they did was they took the 4 high efficiency cores and they put it in this chip, which is the N100. It has an N100 chip in it. And so it starts out, I have a Yeah, $150, not $150, $159. Let's not be dramatic. Is it limited to 16 gigs of RAM? This particular one is, right? So if you don't spend more money, you won't get a motherboard that can support dual channel. So it is single channel. But I don't care. The thing smokes. This thing is so friggin' fast, I can't even tell you. So it started out, I was looking to get a replacement for an i3 system that I have that basically at this point works as a file and print server. I really don't even want it to be a file server any longer. I want to move the disk. It used to have an array of like six disks in it. That got consolidated to a single 14 terabyte disk. And I can just pull that 14 terabyte out and throw it into one of my other many machines, right, that I have running 24/7 around here. So I wanted to get rid of that, and I wanted to put a different PC there. What can I do? And I start checking into like mini PCs. And I say, wow, it was a little bit less. I think it was like $139. But I wound up buying this is an N100. I wound up getting an N95 with 16 gigs of RAM and like a gigabit Ethernet. And it used an SATA, even though it looks NVMe, even though it plugs in like that. It's still an SATA drive, so it's limited to about 550 megabytes per second. That's where it maxes out at. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me buy this. I buy it, and as there was a little delay before they can ship it. They hadn't shipped it yet. I'm reading some reviews, and it turns out that the N100 chip is actually a lot better. It runs on 1/3 the power. The speed is around 1 to 5% faster. So right around the same speed, if not a little bit faster. But the video can be much faster because instead of 16 execution units in it, they put 24. It's 50% more execution units in the graphics. And so even though they run it at 750 megahertz instead of 1.2 gigahertz, it runs at a lower power draw because it's got a lower chip speed. But it's stronger because it's got 50% more friggin' execution units. So you're not going to be gaming with this thing, but for running video, it's got codecs built into the hardware for just about every video type out there. It just literally runs on hardware codec. So, the more I'm looking into it, the more I'm like, wow, I should just get the N100. It's much better. And that unit had a 1X PCI Express bus, which would bump that hard drive speed from 550 megabytes per second up to 800 megabytes per second. And, that's a little boost. I'll take it. I'll take that boost from 550 to 800. Sure. So I cancel that one, and I order the second one, all right? As I'm waiting for that one to ship, I realize that there's this one. This is the one I eventually go with. This one here. This one, the Morphine. Again, link in the description. The difference between this one and the other one also has the N100 chip, but instead of a 1X PCI bus, it has a 2X PCI Express bus, 2-lane. Well, that doubles the throughput. So, again, a lot of these will have much higher, but they're a lot more money. They're not $150. They're not $159. But now this is what I'm getting for throughput. On my 2X friggin' bus, I was like, oh my God. And it comes with Windows 11 Pro, fully set up. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? So I cancel that one and I order this one. And this is just that alone. So the first one this number here would have been, these all would have been much lower. This number would have been 550 maxed out, 540, 550. The second one I looked at would have been maxed out at about 800, maybe 850. And this one maxes out at 1770, right? I mean, it's a huge difference in friggin' I.O. speed. And that just makes everything feel peppy, right? Everything just feels, right, oh, peppy. What? Pew, 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 pew. Just went up to 169. It should have a $10 coupon. Might. Should. So, exactly, right, Tony? You wouldn't think it would come with an OS. It comes with Windows 11 Pro. And, but the one thing that was weird was when I loaded it, it kept saying like Windows Defender wouldn't work. I couldn't update it. I couldn't run any of the updates. And I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. What do we got? Some knockoff friggin' install. What's going on here? But what it was for some reason the date in the BIOS was set to March of 2024. I did a time sync, and as soon as I did a time sync and it set it to today, the date and the time and everything to today, boom, everything worked. Everything updated. It ran massive Intel and Microsoft updates for about 20 minutes and did all this rebooting and everything like that. And it did, man, what a difference. And the thing has been, it's insane. This thing is friggin', let me see if I have another picture of it. Yeah, here it is over on the bench. Right? Look at that. Little thing, little mouse. There's Windows. There's Winders in the background. See if I got another shot of it here. Hold on. This way. Yeah. Just for scale, there it is with a keyboard. How much bigger the keyboard is. A little, doesn't come with a keyboard or a mouse. You got to provide that, or a monitor. But, I have shelves of that. No problem with monitors or anything like that. And this one, let me see, can we get to that other? Yeah, here's a shot right there. This one, unlike the other ones, Wi-Fi 6 and a 2.5 gigabit. 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. So 2.5 gigabit Ethernet and Wi-Fi 6. I mean, talk about cutting edge. You can't even be serious. And so I started to think about it. I'm like, could you use that in like a DAW situation? Because, if you look at it, the only output you really have is this little, headphone jack in the back, which is kind of goddamn ridiculous. But nobody goes through that when they go through. I don't use that for my big PCs. You're going to plug an interface into it. The interface is going to handle all of the DACs, right? All of the conversion for you. All you're going to do is manipulate the audio and store it to the drive, but the drive can do 1.7 gigabytes per second of storage. That is way beyond anything you would ever need for any sort of storage. It's got a 512, it's got a half a terabyte in it, 512 gigs in it. You can always just dump off over USB to unload as it fills up. I just think it would make a perfect little DAW box because all your audio is going out of your audio box anyway, right? Your headphones, your guitar in, your audio out, that all goes out of the either the Scarlett or whatever you're using for an audio box. So this is the Morphine. Again, these names, Oh, hold on. Oh, I want that cam, right? I just went by, it's a metal chassis too. It's all metal. I just went by, and you can see it, you can hang it on a wall, right? If you want to, you can actually hang it on the back of your monitor. It's pretty cool. But this one, again, it took a few hours of research. This one has, you can do dual 4K displays. You can do 4K displays up to 60 hertz. You got USB 3.1 or USB 3.2, and it's got a 2.5 gigabit, and that's a big exhaust port. And trust me, when I was doing all my updates and it was really chugging on both the hardware, plus I did a full virus scan once I updated the, because I don't trust any operating system that I just received. I was tempted to wipe it out and just load my own, but I was like, you have the serial number. Why go through the nonsense of trying to load your own and load a digital license? Just deal with it. It was activated and it worked. But more fine. Again, link in the description for more information. It's not just fine. It's more than fine. It's more fine. Come on, put me on the marketing team. So, the thing is that, if you already have a display, which I do, and a keyboard and a mouse, which I do, even though you can buy a friggin' display for $70. All these are is what they're doing is most of these PCs, they're laptop chips, right? They run a little bit cooler. They run a little bit underpowered, but they sit on your desk and they take this thing when the processor itself maxes out at 6 watts. 6. The whole unit, when you're like doing a bunch of RAM use and a bunch of storage, like say you were decrypting something, or you know what I'm saying, you were taking something from, like unzipping something, it's a massive file, right? So you're doing a lot of disk I/O, you're doing a lot of RAM I/O, you're doing a lot of calculations, right? The max draw is 15 watts. 15. And most people that put it on one of those things said it was more like 12. So it's like, I don't know, man. I just think that they're so powerful. I said for 150, when I bought it, it was on a Black Monday sale, and I paid $149. I think they're $159 right now. Not Black Monday, Cyber Monday. It just seems to me that it's more than enough for what most people need. The one thing it doesn't do is gaming. So if you're into gaming, it's not going to work for you. And I would not waste my time with one of these trying to make a gaming one, because like a gaming laptop, it just doesn't work. Just get a gaming machine. You need something big that can hold a big heat sink, some sort of big way to cool off that processor. But if you're not gaming, which I'm not, you're just watching videos, Netflix, you're doing DAW work, I don't think you'd be doing a lot of like video editing work on this, but I bet you could do photo editing, no problem. It's quad core, man. It's quad core, man. It's $150. Again, $160 right now. Yeah, it won't be good for high-end video editing. It wouldn't. I wouldn't use it for video editing, period. Although it does have, what is that called? Core? What do they call that? Oh God, it's on the tip of my tongue. You know what? I can't think of it. But it's Intel's hardware codec that's built in. It's got it built in. So you can say, I want a hardware render, and it would use it to the extent it could use it. And it's got the more execution units on this particular model. So again, it's like I did my homework on it. I canceled 2 units. Kind of bought the first one on a whim. I say, I'll check this out. But the more I looked at it, I was like, no, wait. You gotta don't just rush into this. Look this over. Then I bought that second one, and then even that one, I was like, you're close, you're better, but this one's even better. Some of them, a lot of them, you'll see will have 2 network ports. That's because they want to use it as like a firewall, right? They want to use it as some sort of a relay or a firewall. I'm not doing that. I think that's a waste of space, right, on the unit, a waste of resources. And unless you are using it like that, like you're using it as a firewall in between 2 networks, I think it's a waste of resources to get 2 NICs. I just get the 1 NIC, and, they have some on there. Now, again, this was one, I paid $150. I think they're $169. Someone just said. They had some in there that were like $500, and they had like quad display outs, and they had like all kinds of like crazy stuff. They mostly ran Ryzen chips. I want to say like the 6800U or the 77. The new Ryzen 7 series was at 7735, I think. So, but again, they're a lot more money. It defeats the purpose for me. I literally wanted to spend like under $200, and I really wanted to spend really close to $150. The closer to $150 I could spend, the better. Hell, if it was $100, even better. But then once they get down that cheap, they're kind of garbage. They're kind of old tech that the people are just trying to blow out. And this chip, the chip in this unit, this particular chip, is less than a year old. It was announced and came to market in January of 2023. So it hasn't even been a year on the market. So that's pretty recent tech. I don't think that actually gets out. They announced the chip, but you can't buy the units until like the summer. Right? It takes a while before the chips actually make it into the units. Anyway, I think it's a game changer for me. I have a bunch of, even the station I'm using right here, I don't really need the kind of processing power and the stuff I'm using in it. It's a bit of overkill from what I'm doing. But, I'll use it until the end of its life. But by the time we get to the end of the life of this computer, these mini PCs, I could just see them sort of really taking over. Who needs a big giant PC unless you're gaming? But barring that, it's got plenty of I/O, plenty of everything you need. This is to replace an old i3 system. They got the files. Like I said, I'm going to move out. But it still has to be a print server. I don't want to move the printer. Everybody knows where the printer is. So I'm just going to set this up as the new print server. And when it's sitting there idle, it's going to be running at 6 watts. They say it runs as little as like 3 to 4 watts when it's just sitting there idle. So that's much better than what I'm running right now, which is a power supply from 2013, which I'm sure is probably pulling 100 watts at any time of the day and then some. And it runs 24/7. Big PCs have more RGB potential, though. Oh, God. The worst thing to ever happen. Believe it or not, they make these, Agufish, they make these full-on RGB. You'd think so, with the full bling, and it will, like, swirl a bunch of friggin' LED lights on it. So you can say, I've got an LED box, too. But again, you can't play games on it. And who the hell has an LED box if they're not playing games? That's the whole kind of a thing. So, Agufish, am I going to see you in January? I am booked. I did it. Bro. Airline prices fell through the floor. Airfare. I got a notice from Google saying, no, seriously, this is like a really good deal. So I booked round trip, nonstop, Boston to LAX, round trip, $257. I thought that was pretty good. That's more like if you're flying to Nashville kind of price than flying to friggin' LA. Boston to LAX, that's you know, I've definitely paid more, without a doubt. Still too expensive for you? Not going to go? No. Do. Unless you can crash on your floor. Believe it or not, Agufish, I'm not even kidding. I did get the 2-queen bedroom. I'm just saying. Couple of queens. No, queen size bed. What am I saying? What? But no, seriously, I did. I got the. I'm staying at the Peacock. A couple of dudes hanging out at the Cock. What? How much are the hotel rooms? Well, the hotel room, I wound up going through Priceline because I trust when I get there they will still have the room for me. Sometimes you go through these like sellers and they give you this crazy good price and you get there and they'll be like, yeah, I don't know. No, I don't know. Right? I've heard horror stories from some of these like no-name place, you know, like Hotel Chimp, you know. It's like, come over to Hotel Chimp. We get the best hotel prices for anybody. It's like, yeah, I'll stick with Priceline. So I wound up paying, I think my final cost on it, and I'm there Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. I fly out Sunday. I want to say, because, you know, they give you an average for all, because all the nights are different, right? How is that even legal? But apparently it is. I want to say I'm paying like $150 a night, $157 a night, something like that. So it adds up. It's like $600. By the time I'm done with taxes and fees, I'm probably close to $700. Have a good one, Agufish. Got to take care of the kids. It happens. Will it give you commission automatically, Steve? It does if you buy it. But just know this. The lowest, not the lowest, but the lowest percentage, and you'd be surprised how much goes, like gift cards, 0%. So you see it, oh, look, someone bought a gift card. What's my cut? 0%. There's a few things like that where the cut is 0%, but computers, I want to say, is 1%. And then there's a handful of things that are like at 2%. And then there's a huge bunch that's like 3%. And then then it really just starts to go down again. I want to say like, you get into like luxury beauty goods, that goes up to like 4% or even 4.5%. You know, and then you get into like weird things like you sell like premium subscriptions or something like that. They'll give you like it's not even like a percentage, but they give you like a bounty, like $5 or something like that. So, you know, it all adds up. Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot of mini PCs to make a living. You know. Hello, Mike from Mendon, the little town of Mendon. God, between the drive-in and the zoo. Okay, who hasn't been to Mendon? And exactly, Calvin. I need to start recommending lipsticks. You say, look, I'm wearing it now. You can't notice it, but trust me. I'm wearing a mighty rouge. Do I have a discount code for Overloud? I do not. Overloud, they run their sales at their whim. Generally, if you can get it at Overloud at a discount, the same discount can be had at Sweetwater or Tolman. If you don't want to start a whole new thing with Overloud, but they control the sales totally on their end, you know. Oh, thank you, Music Therapy Laz. Have a drink on me. I will. I gotta think about that for a second. Bado babo. Something like that. Wow. Yeah, find me at NAMM. I'll be there. I will be there. So yeah, mini PCs. I've been sort of like, I've been down the mini PC rabbit hole. You know how when you find out like gear, and you're like, your wife is like, "What are you looking at?" I'm like, "Shut up! Shut up! I'm trying to decide between this pickup configuration and that pickup. I mean, hold on, this is very important stuff right now." Hours and hours go by, endless cups of coffee, all sweating. Oh God, fresh pot! What am I getting here? Actually, a friend of mine, I showed it to a buddy of mine. I texted him a photo. I go, "Dude, we're always going, something new and you didn't tell me?" Right? If you know that quote. What's that quote from? Something new and you didn't tell me? I sent him a photo of that, and he said, "Dude," he goes, "my daughter's on like this 90s friggin' crappy PC." He goes, "She'll think it's adorable." I go, "Dude, it will smoke whatever you're using out of the friggin' 90s. He goes, "Dude, it's so bad." But she needed a computer, and we just happened to have it. Like, it was donated by a friend. He goes, "It's so friggin' bad." And I'm like, "Okay." I said, so I sent him a link. I was like, "Dude, you got to get one of these." You know? Yeah, exactly down the specs rabbit hole. Oh, and then I'm like comparing, like, what's the floating point executions on this? And, what are we looking at for IOPS on that? Oh, okay. Looking for anything new at NAMM? No, you know what? This is, like my wife said, it's a vacation. Kind of is. So, he was like, she'll just think it's adorable. She'll just think it's so cute. And he goes, and it'll crush whatever she's using now. I'm like, it will. It will. This is around the speed. Remember, this is a very, it's a very weak, PC relative to what you can get right now for the top PCs, in terms of strength. But it's around a 2016 i7 or a 2018 i5, roughly, for processing power, which is fine. But unlike both of those, it's approved for Windows 11, although that i5 might be in 2018. I think it's 2017 is the cutoff date for the support. I think that mini PC would be an excellent stream box. It would. It would. God, what the hell is the codec that they use? What's the friggin' Intel codec? It's killing me. It does all the HVACs. I can't think of it. It's like quick sync. That's what it is. Quick sync. Damn, I couldn't think of it. Yeah, so that's what these are. Mainly, they use a laptop CPU, right, to keep the heat down. Sort of designed for these tiny little, motherboards. Some of them, though, again, you could spend $1,000 on one, but I don't know if I'd do that. Then you're kind of defeating the whole purpose of these, which is to have a low-cost PC. But I could see myself getting a $500 one and getting a really nice, robust metal chassis with more I/O, with DisplayPort support, with, more robust everything. My God, I could see that replacing a desktop system. It's like, who wants to have a big giant machine? Unless you're gaming or doing video editing work, then absolutely you will need it, because you're going to need a big. It's not going to cut it. But unless you're doing that, which is very specific, I don't game. I do video editing, but I have a machine in the attic specifically dedicated just to video editing. So, is it QuickSync? Am I getting it wrong? I think it's QuickSync. Right? QSync is what it looks like when you choose it. Does the little box run hot? No, it doesn't. In fact, I was doing quite a bit of work on it. As you can see on the back, it's got a full exhaust system on it. See, some of these old ones didn't, and they would overheat. But you can see, I don't know if you can see the fins, but there's some fins right there from a heat sink. And it blows out of the ass end of this thing, and it draws air in from the sides, from that side. And from that side. They used to be a little bit more closed up and then have like an open ring at the top and at the bottom. But I think they wanted to make for better airflow. And when it was maxed out, and I guess I would say it was maxed out when I was doing, I did a full scan. Well, it takes about 20 minutes to do an absolute full scan of everything, because it deep dives. When you tell Windows Defender, I want a complete scan, any compressed file, it will uncompress and look through. It is complete. Even if it's not a file that normally would be a virus, it still checks it. So it takes a long time to go through that. That's when I would say, and when I was doing it, like when you first hook it up to do the updates, my God, it is just doing update after update after update. Those first like 5 or 10 minutes, that's really going, because it's in the background. It's doing, because it first touch up, it does a, what do they call that? A quick scan, right? It still runs a quick scan. So, it maxes out at 15 watts, and the chip itself, the N95, is 6 watt. The N95, which is the less efficient one, is 15 watts. Those get more up to like 25, 30 watts. Right? This one maxes out at about 15. Beautiful. Beautiful. So Toron, you said you got a mini PC with a Ryzen 9. So that's one of the more powerful ones, without a doubt. 7940 HS. Yeah, they're relatively expensive, but still not a crazy expensive thing. But it covers all your computing needs in a tiny box. Yeah, exactly. I tell you, for this unit over here, if my wife didn't buy me a new processor for friggin' Christmas, I'd probably buy one of these mini PCs for over there. But she wound up on Cyber Monday there. She got me an Intel, like an i7 1200K. They were blowing them out for like $209, which is pretty good for a 12 700K, which is 125 watts, right? And the new 14 700K is 250 watts. That's how they get the performance. Just jam a bunch of electricity in there. This voltage that pig up. Will Kiss stay retired? I don't know. Oh, you went with the bare bones? Yeah, that's a good way. You can populate it yourself. You can get the RAM you want. You can get the I/O that you want. Yeah, cool wifey, right? Yeah. She was like, what do you want? I'm like, well, they're doing these cheap. She's like, send me a link. If it comes with a Windows 11 Pro, you just got a mini PC for $30. I know, right? How do they do that? But it does. It came with a full version of Windows 11 Pro. When it booted up, I went through and they give you a tip. They tell you, they warn you. They're like, if you boot this up and you connect to a network first, it will not allow you to continue without making a Microsoft account or logging in with a Microsoft account. If you want to log into this locally, do not plug this into an Ethernet port. Do not connect to your Wi-Fi port until you're all done. And it will just say, I don't have an internet. And it'll say, okay, and then you can set up a local account, and that's how I did it. Because I don't really want to use a Microsoft account for everything. I just set it up. It works, though. That totally worked. Just skip it. Because they're like, I got this, and I couldn't sign in. I couldn't go through without creating a Microsoft account. And so they were like, listen, that's because you connected to the internet. And once you connect to the internet, they're like, that's it. Now we're going to force you to use a Microsoft account. How many gigabytes for the window install? I don't know, but it has it's got a 512 gigabyte SSD in it, and I want to say it's less than 10% used. Probably even less than 5%. It's got like a tiny sliver down. It's not a very, very little. What's crazy is that and maybe they're just hidden, but when I bring up the, when I bring up the disk management system, it shows only the UEFI partition and the main partition. It doesn't show the hidden health partitions or whatever they call the rescue partitions. So maybe they didn't set it up like that, but usually when I see a Windows 11 install or a Windows 10 install, but really even like a Windows 11 straight up install, I'm looking to see 4 partitions, and there's only 2. Uh, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of RAM, but unfortunately it's single channel RAM. So there's only one stick, and I don't think you can upgrade it to 32 gigs. And I wouldn't want to buy it and then try it and then it didn't work. I I think there is a limitation either by the motherboard or by the processor of the 16 gigs, but 16 gigs is fine. If you spend more money, again, this is $159, $149 I paid. I think the 169 someone said. You're 16 gigs. You can spend more money and get 32 gigs all day long. There's a plan. And you can spend more money. That's DDR4. You can spend more money and get DDR5 and dual channel. And much better, way more lanes, PCIe lanes. Right. This only has 2 lanes. But there were some of them that had 0 lanes. They were SATA. Some that had 1 lane. So you got to, again, for around the same money, about $150. So you got to kind of do your homework on that. If you spend $450, and you're probably going to get, much better processor. You're going to get, more RAM, 32 gigs of RAM probably. You might even get DDR5. You can get a whole bunch of extras if you spend more money. I don't want to spend more money. That's the cheap person in me says, why? Well, do I need that? Do I really need it? And like one dude who reviewed it pointed out, he's like, everything is so fast now. The I/O, the digital I/O, and everything is so fast. He's like, and there's so much assistance to like creating the web page, either by pulling it off a cache, or the video stuff. He's like, if you're just browsing the web and watching videos and playing Netflix and doing crap like that, he's like, you're going to have a normal PC experience. It's not going to feel like you've given up something, like you're somehow, bought a hindered system. It's pretty fast. Yeah, I think 16 gigs is plenty, though, not dual channel, exactly. And they don't have like 4 lanes. They don't have 4 lanes of PCI Express either, right? It's only 2. So again, there's more. If we use your link and you up the spec, do you still get a cut? I do. I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe whatever you buy, and I want to say a 24-hour period, will go to me, unless someone else already claimed it, right? Then they work it out. But I think I want to say it's a 24-hour period, unless you put it in your cart. And there's like a rule in the cart, it can stay there. If you put it in, like say you went there and you didn't buy it within 24 hours, but you put it in your cart and then you checked out on your cart, I think it can go days and it will still work. Maybe even months and it will still work. If you put it in your cart, because it will assign that to my affiliate link by putting it in the cart. Kind of weird like that, but if you don't do anything in 24 hours, the cookie just expires. Yeah, go get yourself an e-machine. Packard Bell, packaged hell. So we used to call them. Packaged hell. Vola. Who was the outfit with the cows? Gateway 2000. In the year 2000. They quietly dropped the 2000 in the late 90s because it already felt a little dated. Yep. Fire up your Packard Bell, log on to Prodigy and CompuServe. Or what was the old one? Bix. I never owned an E machine. Couldn't never bring myself to own that. I used to buy a lot of, pre-made PCs. I'd go to different places. I bought a few real pieces of shit through the Computer Shopper magazine. There's some real shitholes in there. One of my best things ever, though, was I was on a quest to get because I was working at that think tank, Putnam, Hayes, and Bartlett. I was working there in the IT department, and I wind up buying off of like a friggin' auction through maybe Ubid. Remember Ubid? Might have been Ubid, ubid.com. And it was a Compaq, and I get it. And it had a dual core. I wound up 2 processors, which back then, to have 2 processors in a single machine, you had to be loaded. But I got it for, I don't know, like $500 or $600. It wound up costing me I got a second processor for it. Put it in, it wouldn't start. I found out it needed a separate power module. I had to buy that power module. Power module cost me like another $50. I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy shit, I was lucky it was that cheap. I got that going, had the dual core Compaq. It was a Compaq workstation. And then I wound up, I'm trying to remember who made the workstation. I want to say it was Hewlett Packard, or might have been Compaq. It might have been another Compaq. But I bought that workstation for like $800, and I was like, ugh, I got it, and had the dual core, and it was so heavy. And I was trying to upgrade the video, and like the video wouldn't work, and you needed to have like a particular video card, and it wasn't going to, and I was losing it. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to throw this up auction on eBay. And I put that thing up on eBay, and it shot up to $1,200 so fast. I almost ended the auction, and my friend at work was like, stop, wait. People are waiting around to bid on this thing at the end. And he was right. It went up to $1,600, double what I friggin' paid for it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm quitting now. I'm starting my own workstation refurbishing company. The money. Oh my God. I was like so convinced that I was like gonna make a time, and he was like, "Don't do it, don't." And so I that was my last. That was my last workstation. Then after that, I want to say I got a dual Celeron. Remember when they could kill a pen, right? You could kill a pen on a friggin' Celeron, right? Just have that be a dummy pen, so it didn't connect to the Mobo, and you could make a dual processor. And so there were a bunch of motherboard companies came out with dual Celerons. So I had a couple of celeries in there. Those were good times. I threw that up on eBay, sold that pretty quickly. Oh man, the systems I've had. Oh man, I had a server down here one time. Had a RAID 5 array in it that had a whopping 600 gigabytes. Yeah, it's right, 600 gigs. Who would ever need more than that? Says someone with like 25 terabytes now. It really did tie the room together, man. We put a rack mount quad Xeon with 128 gigs of RAM into a virtual, right? So back in the day, this is probably 1999. I remember they had a workstation built that had 24 gigabytes of RAM, which was just unheard of. 24 gigabytes of RAM. At the time, everyone was running like 256 megs, 512 megs. We weren't even at a gigabyte, of RAM, per workstation yet. We weren't up to a gig of RAM. let alone 16 gigs of RAM, which is what this little freaking thing has. And I remember we just were blown away. 24 gigs of RAM, row after row after row of RAM in that friggin' thing. And they dropped, I want to say, $150,000 on a friggin' Sun system, this big friggin' towering Sun system. And they never really got their money back on that. Because the problem is that their models, when they ran on different systems, gave different results. And when you're in consulting, what you can't have is a different result. So at one point, they bought a deck system, and the deck used a different floating point. And then all of a sudden, you're getting like slightly different results. And it was like, no. They dumped that. We went back to all Dell workstations. And then they brought that Sun system in, and I think it was sort of the same thing. In 1999, a low-end computer had 32 megs of RAM. Yeah. I should do audiobooks. Yeah. And then there was that time I bought a 32 gigabyte RAM Packard Bell. Windows NT 3.1. Yeah, we were using NT4 on, I was building compact ProLiant servers. I remember showing this chick from New York. She flew up to Boston. I could show her how to build one before they laid me off. Freaking ProLiants. Big old racks. Oh my God, I overclocked for a while. I had a Core 2 Duo that I overclocked so friggin' high. I was getting errors and I didn't even realize it because I overclocked too much. I went too far. I think I overclocked. I overclocked like 2.5 times its rated speed, 2.5, and I wound up bringing that back down to just double, and it was so much more stable at 2x. But I was running 2x. Amazing. And that was on a Dell. A Dell Core 2 Duo. That's crazy. Yeah, God, the overclocking thing. Yeah, I got my like 166 up to like 180, bro. Uh-huh. So bad. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. No, it was. It was, sure. I remember the first CD burner. Oh, my God. What crybaby. I remember when I was in graduate school, one of the dudes saying, yeah, because CDs had just come out. And he was like, I can't wait till we can just write to CDs. It stores so much more data. I remember saying, like, that's never going to happen. You're going to have a laser writing into a CD? That's never going to, we're never going to see that. Like 2 years later, CD burners are out. And then they have rewritable CD burners and all that crap. Oh, my God. I was way off. Way off. I get 2 words for you. Zip. Disk. Yeah, Plex Store 1x speed. Exactly. Waiting like all these hours for your disc to finalize. Finalizing disc as you're sitting there like sweating bullets. Like, I gotta get home, man. What are we doing? Oh, okay. Didn't work. Too full. Apparently, that you couldn't film them all the way. It didn't matter. I got 2 words for you. Zip disk. God. Waiting for your disc to finalize. Why, God? Why? Ah. So bad. Oh, I remember putting a SCSI card in one of the, right? You drop it in one of the ISA slots just so you could get faster burning, right? Because you need a SCSI drive if you wanted to get any decent speed out of it. They weren't SATA drives, they were ATA drives. Like 60 megabytes per second. My God. That's crazy. Using floppies to install Windows, yeah. I remember for shits and giggles, I said, you know what? I had a brand new install set for Windows 98. And I went to go install it with, I had a system there, Windows 98 system. And, I'm going to reinstall this just for the nostalgia. Oh my God, I forgot what a pain in the ass it was to like format the disk and set a disk partition. I had to do all that in DOS before you could even start and try and run it and get to a DOS friggin' partition to run the set. I was like, oh my God. But instead of just booting from a friggin' thumb drive now, takes 2 friggin' seconds. Oh my God, what a pain in the ass. 1200 baud modem. Dude, I had a 300 baud modem. Must be nice. Of course, then you got the 56K, but it was never. The 56K was always a lie. I think the highest it ever really got was 14, right? Anything beyond 14 was supposed to be like compression. It's just made up bullshit. Never really did. Never really. I had a 300 baud. I don't run a RAID setup any longer, but I did run a RAID setup for the longest time. I had a RAID 5 setup. Yeah, you had to put a CD driver on to install it. Yeah, U.S. Robotics, man. Crazy. So I had a conversation of bulletin boards. I'll see you over on Prodigy. CompuServe, Bix. Yeah, U.S. Robotics was probably the one to have, yeah. Some say that really it never really got past like 900. I'm 9600 or 14.4. Everything past that was just made up bullshit compression. Yeah, CompuServe, Prodigy. I was the first dude, I think, in my entire town to get a cable modem. My town got it in 1996, and my install was on January 2, 1996. January 2nd. Bring it in. And it had 1.5 megabit on the down and like 150K on the up or something like that. Wasn't that much slower up, 50K on the up. And of course now I have a gigabit symmetrical. But I remember it was locked to a MAC address. Only one computer could use it, right? And I was running like a SOC server like a pass-through on mine so my wife could run her computer through mine. I'd run 2 NICs and connect to her and go back, right? Oh, I got around all that. They finally, yeah, socks, exactly, vanilla size, sock server. And then Windows built into it like an internet server. And I just used the one built into Microsoft because the sock server, you could tell people would scan for you, right? It was a security problem, and so I dumped that. God, I ran an FTP server for the longest time, and then they were pissed. They were like, "Dude, you can't run like commercial activity." And when it came here, we couldn't even get a cable modem. The best they had was DSL. In DSL, you had to like call up and sign in. And then I just remember having an epiphany. I got a modem one time, like a router, that automatically dialed in, automatically remembered all my stuff, and just like automatically kept that connection. I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? And that was huge. Anyway, we're getting nostalgic. You know, now it's all fiber. Yeah. No, we're on gigabit. I could see them going to 10 gigabit at some point. It's all fiber optic now. Corel Linux, yeah, I remember that. I remember when they got into Linux. And they were going to make a Java version of, like, some of the Corel products. It all blew up. I remember Red Hat, Slack, and remember BOS. I remember loading a few BOS installs. And you get it all installed, and you're like, I mean, it's fast, but who gives a shit? There's no apps for it. Yeah, Larry's got it right. BOS. Yeah, I don't know if we did Debian. I think we did Slackware mostly. Red Hat. You know. BOS loved it, yeah. Yeah. No, it was fast. It looked good. The problem is that it, there were no apps for it, It was back in the day. All right, dudes, it is 9:03. And quite frankly, I'm getting a little hungry. I think it's ready for dinner. Thanks so much for hanging out. Look at us. Let's get this. Next week, we're going to talk about VAX VMS. Don't get me started. So let's meet up again in a week from now. I think I have a video coming out this week. Yeah, I think I do. You got one. What? And a cat waiting for me here. When am I finishing up? Thanks so much for hanging out. Super extra special thanks to anyone who contributed. That always is appreciated. And of course, brofist to my mod squad. Hashtag brofist, hashtag mod squad. And we will do it all again a week from now. And there you go. Have a wonderful week. Don't buy too many mini PCs. Tell you, I want one in every room now. There are some limitations. Like, I thought about replacing the media system in the attic, but the media system in the attic needs a TOS link. And I don't have that, right? It needs an optical out. So, right, there are limitations. It's not, it doesn't fit every situation, but still, I do like it. Anyway. Now I'm off to go watch. Is it the Bruins on? Something's on. No, you rock. No, you rock. All right, dudes. I'll see you guys in a week. And until then, have a wonderful week. Check out my vid midweek. And we'll do it all again in a week. And there you go. No, you rock. All right. Have a good one. Later.